On behalf of our team, Captains of the Wolfpack, we would like to welcome you to our leadership panel discussion. I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us here tonight. We really appreciate your time and your contribution. To start off tonight, I would like to introduce our panelists. Right here we have Mr. Cecil Fung. He has served in the Lions Club organization for over 20 years now and was elected district governor for the organization as well. He is passionate about giving back to the community and also holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from SFU. Thank you for being here tonight. And next to Mr. Cecil Fung, we have our very own Caitlin Berry. She is a third-year Capilano University student working towards her Bachelor of Business Administration degree. She hopes to enter law school after graduation. Thank you, Caitlin. And next to Caitlin, we have Staff Sergeant Don Kerr. He has been a member of the Vancouver Police Department since 1984. He completed his criminal justice program at Langara College, and he is currently assigned to the Investigations Division Integrated Riot Investigation Team. He has received many commendations, including meritorious service and one for valor. Thank you. I'm just going to pass it on to Emily to introduce the rest of our panelists.
Thank you, Jenny. Next to Dawn, we have Ms. Joan McIntyre, MLA. She was recently re-elected in the riding for West Vancouver Sea to Sky in 2009. Prior to that, she held a similar title for the West Van Garibaldi riding. Joan is the chair for many committees, to name a few, the Select Standing Committee for Children and Youth, as well as the Hope Center for Mental Health and Addiction at Lionsgate Hospital. She also serves on the Committee for Families First. An avid skier and sailor, Joan takes full advantage of Vancouver's beautiful wilderness and natural surroundings. So thank you, Joan, very much for joining us tonight. To the right of Joan, we have Amr Talik, who's a third-year business student here at CAP. He's majoring in international business and hopes to pursue a career in international marketing upon graduation. Aside from his studies, he spends his time focusing on soccer, which is a true passion of his. His passion has earned him a UEFA License B in soccer, which is quite prestigious, as well as the title of coach for the European Football School. So thank you, Chuck. And on the end, we have Pat Fenner, who is a true HR professional with over 25 years of experience in both the public and private sector. She currently holds the title of HR Project Manager at BC Hydro, which has quite an array of responsibilities. She's responsible for talent acquisition as well as Aboriginal employment, just to name a few. Prior to holding the title at BC Hydro, she was the VP at a national travel insurance company where I had the pleasure of working with her. Pat's also a member of the BC HRMA, and she spends her spare time volunteering and mentoring. So thank you, Pat.
So for our first question, in your opinion, what separates a leader from a manager?
In this day and age, I'm not so sure that leaders and managers are separated. I know in the past industrial age that was the case. The leader would say this is where we're going, and the manager would ensure that we follow the steps to get there. In today's business world, I would say that the knowledge of people are probably the most important asset that a manager and a leader can have. So both a manager and a leader both have to kind of work hand in hand to be able to be most effective. I think I agree with everything that was said so far. Just a couple more points that I would add is that you have to be an effective communicator. You have to have people that want to follow your passion and your vision, and you have to be well organized in order to do that.
I think that you're not going to get very far in terms of being a manager these days if you don't have effective leadership skills. And then from a leadership perspective, if you're not able to really just fundamentally manage the business, the resources, and the people, you won't be an effective leader. So I think it's important to realize that they're both really important, and I think the leader, as Cecil said, does help to inspire and to create the vision, but I think the managers are very important as well. So.
Was thinking of the attributes like vision that everyone said. I also had courage. I was thinking, you know, I think a leader in today's terms really has to have courage. They've got that passion, they've got that commitment, but you got to have courage. You got to be, you know, oftentimes you're right out there.
As a leader, you must be prepared to stand alone. And it's a lonely place being a leader. And I think that's a great example you gave of the lady in Alberta there. If you're not prepared to stand alone and stand by your conviction, you will never get people to fall in. So that's, and I say that, it's funny because leadership is not only in the workplace, but it's in your home, it's with your friendships and whatnot. Sometimes you have to stand alone and stick by your conviction. That's kind of important.
So we all know conflict is unavoidable in the workplace. Pat, from your experience at BC Hydro, what do you think is the best approach to resolving conflict in your workplace?
The best way to resolve conflict is to try to avoid it to begin with. And that's not from avoiding situations, but it's for really, from a leadership perspective, creating an environment where your values are articulated, the leaders kind of walk and talk their values as well. There's values of teamwork and respect, so that you can tell specifically whenever someone's not behaving to like the values of the company. So you kind of can articulate whenever there's a problem attached to that. So, and if there is then, I think the best thing to do is talk to the person, and talk to them about the impact their behavior is having actually on others around them and on their coworkers and the company.
Joan and I were laughing before this all started because our workplaces are all about conflict.
Yeah. I know that.
Yeah.
It doesn't
whether
sometimes get resolved.
Yeah, whether it's being a policeman, internally conflict, and how to deal with things, or on the street dealing. People don't call us to their parties. Yeah, we tend to go because it is a good party and somebody else has complained. So and they weren't invited. So it's funny because that's what we have to do. So I'm of a different opinion when it comes to conflict. My opinion on conflict after 20 years of policing is we don't avoid it. We embrace it, and we both embrace it internally and externally. But then we have to embrace it and confront it. And I agree that communication is the biggest part of resolving conflict. Often, if we don't have the other skill sets communication type skill sets to deal with conflict, we tend to go to other resources which ends up in nothing but trouble, whether it's internally or externally in my job. And if it's internally, you end up in spending a lot of time and money to basically resolve it with mediators and whatnot.
There is no power structure because everybody's there out of their own volition. They just want to be there. And when people get together, there will be bound to be conflict. Communications, yes, is a key. This is an absolute key to resolving a conflict. Whether you get them all in the same room or you talk to them separately. And that is, what is your agenda? What exactly are you doing? Is it because you don't like her dress? Or you don't like his hairstyle? Or what is it? Why are we having this conflict? Once you get down to that, then I would individually ask them, how would you see this resolved?
Just going over it kind of thing. You have to look at the problem and actually try to solve the problems. And it doesn't matter what you do, like being a doctor or even nature op with 60,000 people, right? I think if you see a problem, you got to do something about it. And
Yeah, I agree.
If you don't, Amber, it grows. And it's,
So our third question is, over the past 10 years, how would you describe the leadership trend? Don, would you be able to start?
yes, the leadership trend has changed in my opinion. It's gone from being a leader, the only thing that comes to mind is you've gone from being a leader in an organization and leading by that organization's values to due to the economy the way it is, people now need to lead within themselves and be able to guide, and the trend is really about self-improvement in the leadership way of doing things. So that's the only thing I can come up with in regards to it. And I'm curious to hear what everybody else has to say about it.
Well, I noticed, at least in this setting, when we were trying to sort of set up all this, all of these different aspects of the event, there was a lot of us. There was a lot of us that felt comfortable in the leadership role, that sort of offered to do different things or tried to just sort of be in charge. So I think at least in this class, maybe it's because it's a leadership class, but I felt like there was a lot of us, and a lot of us that felt comfortable with it and were natural leaders. So like you said, just born with it.
I think I've been very impressed with the younger generation coming up behind us. And I think I think you're right, there's some innate skills and things that come out, and you're sort of born with some of those attributes. But I think maybe because the world's become more competitive, we're in a global economy where, where everything, even getting into school or getting, into class or the classes you want, you have to strive for it. You have to figure out how to do that and how to make your way. And I think that the leadership skills are being, drawn out. And I think that more people taking personal responsibility and accountability and those things, I think does help build leadership. And I've been very impressed with the abilities. And Dawn was an example. Even you classmates building this whole panel tonight. There was a lot of leadership there. I got a complete package. I get more information from you than I do from others. In terms of what's expected, what the roles are. You've thought this out. You built this whole program, and here you've attracted people from a variety of professions and workplaces. So kudos.
I think the development of your leadership skills is a kind of more of a journey based on self-awareness and just continuing to hone your exposure, the way you're showing up with people, the way you're interacting, learning from your mistakes, and just working towards that, to always to fulfill your leadership potential.
We're coming up to our last question, and this last question is: how does diversity amongst members strengthen the group's collective will?
In my era of policing 50-year-old plus type guys and gals, we work for the job, and as a result, we tend to destroy our personal lives because we're so committed to the jobs. And a leadership skill that came to my attention was this young female officer who said, look, I can't do that because I need to do this to take care of myself, so therefore I won't be able to make that, and I'm no good to you if I haven't taken care of myself. And it was an aha moment, and it went, that's leadership.
Wow.
You guys standing up here, everybody that organized this, you've taken a risk. You don't know what we're going to say. I didn't even know I was an expert in leadership until I got here. But you guys have taken a huge risk, and that's part of leadership. Every time you make yourself vulnerable, every one of us have shown it by sitting here, but you guys have done it by organizing, getting up there, speaking, introducing us, meeting us in the classroom there. That's all leadership. And I agree with you. It's a lifelong skill. And the moment you stop developing in any skill set that you can is the moment you stop living. So as I'll pick on my age, I don't want to pick anybody else, but I'm 50 years of age and I've just begun. I've learned lots and I've got lots to go. So
We have 1.3 million members in every corner of the world. So it is a very diverse international organization. What binds us together, very simply, 2 words. We serve. Simple as that. And that's what binds us together. We are charged by Helen Keller way back when to be Knights of the Blind. And that's our major focus in the work that we do. I think, something that is simple, that people can focus on, they can grasp onto, will strengthen, the entire group. And, we have an international convention every year. And just everybody, all walks of life, all ethnic groups come together.
I guess to build on what Cecil was saying too, I love being at CAP because there's so much diversity. And there's all the international students, and even like you said, just different ages and demographics. And so I feel like I've learned so much just from my fellow students, giving their input in class or working with different people from different backgrounds and different ethnicities. I've learned so much just from my peers. So that's probably what I would have to say, is just learning.
that when you do get people that have different life experiences and backgrounds, you really do increase the variety of ideas produced when it comes to resolving and dealing with issues. The range of life experiences You therefore come to a bunch of different conclusions, and as long as everybody's prepared to work together, you tend to have, and I agree with you, it tends to be fun and creative, and it's somewhat exciting. And so, as a police department, we really encourage diverse hiring because it does make us better as an organization. If we were all, 50-year-old white guys, we would all kind of probably think the same and grew up in the same neighborhood, and therefore wouldn't, we may not be able to deal with situations as well as we possibly could. I'm not saying we're perfect. We always have room for improvement, but in my opinion, in the 29 years, we've gotten better and better as a result of the different diverse backgrounds that we've hired.
You need a leader. If somebody takes charge in a group, like I've had one example as being a student for 3 years in group assignments, if you have somebody as a leader taking charge, others will follow. And I think that just your leadership qualities can inspire others as well.
To connect with people authentically, to walk the talk so that you're not saying one thing and acting perhaps a different way, and that you're always reinforcing excellence in leadership and demonstrating that. So I think that's really important. I think that if you lead from the heart and connect with people, regardless of ages, you'll have a connection.